Same.
They have much better like sizing and stuff because you go to the women's section and it's like this is a size 16 and it's like what does that even mean when you go to the men's section and they're like it is this wide and this long and you're like yes, thank you.
I feel that in my soul.
Balling.
No. Hey Google. Hey Google. How do I wash my hands?
Sorry, I don't understand, but I found something else. Do you want to know how often you need to wash your hands?
No, I don't. Never mind. Go to hell.
Dumb bitch. What the fuck is wrong with me? What is actually wrong with me?
Nice. And if you do that too, you'd probably be able to make the share screen of this of us like larger, like embiggen it, because the flags want to be kind of on the side, needing to be. Does that make sense? I'm not articulating with particularly well.
I think so. And then, oh man, I thought I could get it in the basket, the waste basket.
Are we picking each other up on the other's headset? Taryn's gonna be sitting. You're not. You're Taryn. You're Clover.
I am.
Clover's gonna be in this window to my right. Sounds good? Okay. I think that's all I got for you, Taryn.
Yeah.
We just want to test that. We're watching the Eagles absolutely massacre the Commanders, and I'm loving every second of it.
Every single second of it.
And the funny thing is, every time I've come out to someone, I've I've been met with just such acceptance and love. It's I I'm kind of taken aback by it because people are like, oh, okay, and it's funny like people don't care, and I don't mean they don't care if they don't care about you, they don't give a shit. Like, okay, you're trans, or okay, you're gay.
When I got off of it, I basically I talked to you, Ryoku, because we were doing this interview, and I wanted to make sure that we were like I read your message. I didn't talk to you, but I read your message. But everyone else, I just kind of ignored and just like tuned out and like hung out with someone that I really wanted to hang out with. And the next day, I like opened my phone and I looked at like my messenger, and it was like my best friend that I hadn't talked to in probably like 4 years. He was like, "So you didn't tell me you're like online kind of famous now?" And I'm like, "What is going on? What are you?"
How has speedrunning changed or helped you?
Kind of the same things. Like I made a lot of friends through it. I, you know, got better at games, and like it gave me something to pour energy to. Like as cliche as it sounds.
Think, right?
No.
But it's still an amazing human being.
That's debatable.
I think you're pretty amazing. We're gonna jump right back into the questions, starting with Maddie this time, and then we'll go Maddie, Raven, Taryn, and Cade, and maybe Ryoko.
I see you fine now.
Ooh, there we go. I did my own version of the wasted game.
Oh, you're allowed to make all the jokes. I love lollipops. I'll deep throat a lollipop right now and choke on it. I don't care. I'm a slut.
God, man. A boop. I still got another one. You know.
I'm nervous, Abby.
No, don't be nervous. We're live. We're live though. Hi everybody. Live. It's me, Abby. Move my bra out of the way. You're nervous. I got underwear everywhere. it's hard being a girl. Uh, yeah, welcome
I
in.
understand.
Episode 3 of Out with Abby. This month, I'm interviewing my good friend Dev, uh, who I met here on Twitch. We're gonna be talking to him, getting his coming out story, and yeah, and all that. First, I want to say hi to people in chat. Hello, hello, the Claw. How are you? Daddy,
Well,
and Rimaru. Happy Mother's Day, Mama, and Happy Mother's Day to any moms in chat or any dads that act as moms. Um. Okay. I had to make sure I couldn't find my notebook earlier. I got really nervous. Thought maybe it was in the same place as my wallet.
no, it's all good. Same place as your wallet
Same
you
place.
lost.
For those of you that didn't know, I lost my wallet. It was missing for 10 straight days. But normally I'd be a hot fucking mess about it. But thanks to the power of anxiety meds and the ability to check my bank account and see that nothing was happening, I wasn't that worried. And it turned up at work. And in a residence room of all places. Just not the, and we thought maybe a resident took it, just not that resident, and I don't think she did. I think I left it in there like a forgetful Nancy that I am. Um, but yeah, oh hello, welcome in Mayhem. How are you? And yeah, I know everyone's gonna have questions, I'm sure, for Dev. But we will get to those at the end. I just ask that, obviously just be respectful. Nothing out of line, you guys. I'm watching you. Um, I guess so. I guess we'll just dive right in, Devin. What's your trans story? What was, I guess, realizing, coming to that realization, deciding to come out? What was all that like?
So for me, I definitely felt as a child that I was different from all the other girls, first of all. I definitely ran more with all the boys. I definitely did more of the boyish things. I definitely acted more boyish, in my opinion, than I did feminine. But it wasn't until I was in my 20s, probably 20 or 21, that I actually even learned what being trans was, that you could be a trans man, that you could transition from being just living the way you are as a masculine lesbian in a sense and coming more into terms with that versus living life as a man authentically and just being who I felt like I was to begin with. Like I said, that was in my mid 20s. After that, I at the time I came out to my then girlfriend who had been with me since I had long hair. So for her, I had already changed a lot, and she kind of gave me the vibe of that's too much. I can't tolerate that. I can't go through that with you. And so I repressed it, and I held on to it for a while until it got to the point that it's like, no, I can't. That is who I am. I do want to go through living that life and pursuing that hormones and surgeries and all the things that come along with it. And so I did. And when I came back to her at that time, she was much more receptive of it. And so we kind of started the social transition aspect of it. Ultimately, that relationship ended, and then I moved to a more rural part of the state and was able to seek care through a doctor that I just knew through work. And he was an MD in the town, but he was actually able to prescribe me testosterone at first. I went to him with, I want to say, like a 350-page document that I printed off
Oh
and took to
wow.
him after I had read through it. That was for a physician, and just I was like, hey, I've read this. I know what the consequences are. I know what I'm signing up for. I understand what's going to happen. I understand what's not going to change and change back. Like, that's, I get it. I'm here for it. I sign up for it. Like, that's what I want to do. And he was a doctor that just said, okay, like, sure, this is what we'll start at. And so I started testosterone then. That was April 26th, 2016.
Wow. So that's
That was,
almost
yeah,
9 years. Jeez.
it's
9,
been just over 9 years.
yeah, just over 9 years. Yeah.
Celebrated.
Um, yeah, April. That's geez, it's already May. Um,
Yeah,
wow, that's so.
time flies.
And I guess obviously, I guess so. You still have to take. You still do a shot of testosterone
Yeah.
every week.
Yeah, every week. So once a week. So it's actually changed. I started on a different dose than I take now, and I used to take it intramuscularly in my thigh most times, and just alternate. And now I actually take it subcutaneously, and I actually take a lower dose of testosterone. So it, depending on your doctor, depends on where you're going to take it at ultimately. Um, but yeah, yeah, no, and I will continue testosterone once a week for either the rest of my life or until I've likely had a hysterectomy. And then I don't have any estrogen producing organs in my body anymore. So at that point, if I wanted to stop, like, I could. It would be the same as like a woman without estrogen after, like a cisborn woman, I should say, without
Mm-hmm.
estrogen after menopause. Like, there's no,
Oh, okay.
there would just be nothing.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
But being on testosterone, especially for as long as I have, like, there are things that won't change back. Like, my facial hair won't, it might thin out a little bit, but it's not going to go away
Oh,
just
really?
because. Yeah, no, those things are permanent changes. My voice, for example, is going to stay as deep as it is, regardless of if I continue testosterone or not. That's not something that changes back.
Huh. That's wow. I guess I never even thought what if you were
Yeah.
just completely stop and go back to the dark side. Um,
Now, like to detransition would be like at this point would be the same, not the same, but would be very similar to a male to female transition if I wanted to pass as a woman. Ironically, like it's just to a degree. I mean, obviously there's certain things I wouldn't have to do, but like as far as Adam's apple, like I have that. That doesn't go away. That's sticking around,
wow.
hanging out. Nick
All
it all
right.
the time. Nick it all the time shaving.
Just naked all the time, just
Work.
running around.
Yeah, I nick it when I'm shaving. I catch
Oh,
it.
oh, do you?
It's the
Yeah,
worst.
yeah, I mean, I relate to that because I have to shave, you know, 7 days a week almost.
Yeah.
I think like once a week I won't shave just to give the face a break. And like if I go back to back days, like it hurts to shave.
You gotta
Um,
moisturize like crazy, I'm sure.
yeah, yeah. Oh, I don't moisturize enough. That's probably part of my problem. That's why I had to
Yeah.
go 3 times to get my fingerprints done for this job because my skin was so dry. um. Okay. I'm gonna jump in. I should have
I
told you
took us
this.
on a tangent.
Yeah.
I apologize.
No, no, you're okay. So those of you who don't know the format, I always send whoever I'm interviewing the questions beforehand, and I usually tell them, "Hey, I might jump around a bit," but I forgot to tell Dev that, "Hey, I might jump around a bit." Um,
Yep.
but yeah. So one thing I learned recently in the brief time that we've known each other is that you were in the service,
Yeah.
a National Guardsman.
Yeah.
So A, thank you for your service, and I guess B, what was that experience like? And then I have obviously follow up questions that I'm passionate about.
No, absolutely. So, I mean, serving in the military, especially at first, my mindset was very different than it was towards the end of my service. Just all of it as a whole was a positive influence in the sense of it definitely helped sculpt the person that I am today. And like there are certain values that I may have had already, but were really emboldened while being in the military. They were really strengthened while being in the military. Certain standards that I had of myself were held even higher than what I had held them before, and so now that is the standard. That is the new standard for me, and I appreciate those things. Those things will never change now. Um, However, I did start to transition while I was in the military when even Trump was in office at the time. So then there was a lot of concern about what it what consequences there were in being in the military and being trans. My time ended in the middle of that. So, well, I guess towards the end of his term. But either way, I decided to get out at that point in time. Like I said, I was just a very different person. Overall, though, it was good. Like my direct chain of command, the people that I worked with directly did not, I didn't have a hard time with them. I didn't have any negative interactions with anybody. The worst part about it was probably when I would have to go to other training facilities and then stay in women's barracks at times. And that,
Oh,
like, to me, it was just unnecessary for them more so than it was for me. Not to say that I wanted to be bunking with the guys either, because, like, I mean, they smell bad. Like,
yes, they
men's
do.
bathrooms are not great, for example. Like,
Yeah, women's
that's not the
bathrooms,
best thing to
anything
get.
aren't much better. I've seen
No,
some.
they're
I've
not.
seen
Like,
some. It looks like a
for whatever
bomb
reason.
goes off in there.
Yeah, no, for whatever reason, it's not like either of them are great. Like, you think the grass is greener. It's not.
No,
It's not at all.
not at all. Um, yeah. I guess that. So you started. So you said you started to transition while you were still in the
Yeah,
service, and it was just
yeah.
that was, I guess, on top of everything else going on in your life. You're a National
Well, I
Guardsman
mean,
during.
I mean, I was National Guardsman, so like, I mean, I guess that's considered like part-time military. So like, we would
Okay.
have what we would call drill 1 week in a month, and then there were 2 weeks out of the year that we would go to training out in the field and actually go like our version of tent camping, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and in those times, obviously, I bunked with the women, and at times, like I would need to take my shot while we were out in the field. Like that's just we're out there for 2 weeks. I take a shot every week. Like that's gonna happen regardless because I wasn't gonna stop who I was just because I was in the military part time. Like that wasn't gonna stop me from transitioning
Right.
when I realized that was gonna be something temporary anyways. And what were they gonna do? Tell me I couldn't do that? Like nobody really cared. There wasn't any regulations at the time other than like even before I got in, Don't Ask, Don't Tell got repealed.
Yeah. Yeah. That was I think on that was like I think that was still under Obama that he
Yeah.
he repealed that. Relatively. I don't know if that was into his second term or his first term that he did that. Uh,
Yeah, I want to say it was wait, I think.
yeah,
Maybe
probably
I'm wrong.
probably second term, just because of 15 years. It doesn't sound like a long period of time, but I think politically, it might as well be 100 years.
Yeah.
Because everything changes. Uh, and
Yeah.
speaking of I guess political, I guess company policies and whatnot. As a retired serviceman, I guess what are your thoughts on, I guess, the latest anti-trans bullying to come out of the White House?
I mean, the frustrating part to me is for the brothers and sisters that are still in. They carry themselves at such a standard that they exceed any limitations that you may say that they can't do. It's not they've scored well on the ASVAB, for example, which is the standardized test that is used to the written test that's used before you enter into the military to qualify you for various different jobs. What MOS are you going to take on is determined by what you score on the ASVAB. If you don't score so high, there's only certain MOSs that they will train you in, basically. Then you have the PT test, which is your physical readiness of being able to do your job as a soldier. And that's not just your job that you were specifically trained in, but that's being a soldier infantry wise as well. And any soldier that I've seen, at least, that's trans that is in the military exceeds all of those standards by far. And it's their goal to. They hold themselves to that standard that is higher than just them transitioning from the women's PT test to the men's PT test. Okay, well, they're going to max that out too. Because they know that there's going to be discrimination. They know that they're going to be told, well, can you do this? Is that even possible for you? Why, if you want to be perceived that way, then you better pass that PT test. Like, or you better score high. If you want to do your job, like, score high enough on the ASVAB. And they do those things. And I think that because of that, they hold themselves in a way that's a great example. And it's a smack in the face to tell them, no, you are a security threat. No, you are not mentally sound enough to serve the military, when they likely know themselves better than most of their soldiers do. They likely have a way that they carry themselves that is more honorable than most other soldiers would anyways. So it's definitely a smack in the face. It definitely is a feeling of what you did, what you're willing to do doesn't matter. You're not good enough.
Yeah,
For no reason.
And you and I have briefly talked about this, and it's like the way I feel. Like if somebody's willing to die for me, for my freedoms, I don't care if they're an anti well, what their political, personal, religious beliefs are. They're they died for me. They died so that I can do this stream right now, and I think to tell Americans you can't die for their country. I think that is the biggest insult I think you can give a person, especially a patriot. Like, nope, everybody but you can join. And it's not, and there's no, and again, I think this is another debate we can have until we're blue in the face, is like trans athletes. It's not like there's some debate there, like, because there could be a debate there, like saying you can't serve in the military because you don't agree with the gender assigned to you at birth. Like, it's disingenuous at best, and it's un-American at its worst, because that's exactly what it is. And and obviously we can again just go down the list of stuff that is coming out of Washington that scares and frustrates us, but that's we don't have we don't got all night.
Yeah.
That'd
be a long conversation.
That's a long conversation. Yeah, and I think you and I think most normal people are in agreement that it's not a big deal. It's like, who cares? They Whoever wants to serve in the military should be able to serve in the military.
No, absolutely.
Yeah,
if you're willing to sign up to be literally a piece of government property, essentially, to have like tattoos, for example, certain locations that you can have them. At the time that I was enlisted, there were certain sizes you couldn't get them beyond. If they couldn't be hidden underneath your hand with it extended and fingers joined, if it couldn't be hidden under that, you couldn't have it, or they wouldn't let you enlist. So like, and it's interesting because like those policies change depending on basically how hungry the military is for enlistments, or how not hungry they are, if that makes sense.
No, it does. Yeah.
Yeah, and like even limitations on like your criminal history can vary depending on, what legislation is in office, or what, limits they place on being in the military at the time. All like there's so many different restrictions that change all the time. It's just this is obviously the one that's being covered most right now. It's the hottest topic. It's more important apparently than this is the bigger national security threat, as opposed to politicians leaking military plans on Signal.
And you brought up the point I was going to make a few moments ago, but I had a brain fart. It's all we are is, and other people whom I admire have said it best, is like we're pawns. It's smoke and mirrors. They don't care. They don't care where we go to the bathroom. Really, Really, you really
No,
think
it
people
doesn't.
care where we go to?
Exactly.
No,
We're all in there just
it's
shitting,
yeah,
pissing it out.
yeah. It's smoke and mirrors because not for nothing. If a cis guy
No.
wants to walk into a women's bathroom and murder her, a law isn't going to prevent him because he's a bad guy, and
No.
bad guys don't follow laws. God, I'm sorry.
No, I mean you're spot on,
I
and even then, it's like there. I have actually seen like TV hosts and people like that that are obviously covering this topic, and now kind of the realization is kind of hit of like, well, if we're gonna do this, and that means that trans men are using women's restrooms, what's gonna keep a bad guy from saying, "Oh, I'm just a trans man" when he goes into the women's restroom to hurt somebody?
yeah,
And
I
the
mean,
realization that hits them, that's like,
it's
oh,
nobody. There's not somebody there looking up everybody's skirt when they
yeah, and
walk into the
that's
bathroom.
exactly.
And
It's like the threat, even still, it's not trans men, and it's
I,
not trans women, and it never has been.
well, and I think often, too often, for better or for worse, trans men. I guess when you talk about trans in general, it's always you think about trans women.
Yes.
You don't think about women transitioning to male. It's always, oh my God, there's men running around in wigs. There's men in wigs running around. Like no one's talking about the girl in a construction helmet with there's nothing no one's saying anything about the girl with the beard. Like they don't it's and again
We
it's because it's not an issue. It's smoke and mirrors. They're just trying to
No,
distract us
exactly. Like they
from the terrible stuff they're doing.
it's the same argument of like they can always tell. It's like you can't always tell. You have no idea.
There's no yeah.
There's no right or wrong way to be a man or woman, and even then, like there are cis men and women that are born with every body shape and type that you can imagine, every physical feature that you can imagine that doesn't change them from being a man or a woman just because their gender and physical sex may align at birth. Like
Yeah, I mean
there's all
it's again I don't know, I think it's not really it's they're not doing it because they want to they're doing it just to distract people.
yeah.
That's like, hey, we're
There's
gonna
bigger issues at
yeah,
play that need to
we're
be focused
gonna
on, and we are just the most exciting smoke and
yeah,
mirrors, like you said, that
yeah,
that can be pulled on.
we're gonna pass this evil legislation and distract you all while we, you know, pass something even more diabolical without you noticing. That's and we're Americans and we're too stupid to do anything about it. I like because I can't I'm not that smart. Like yeah, I went to college and I can kind of hold my own in a conversation. But if I can't be the if I'm the one that's like making a really good point about bathrooms and nobody else is like there has to be other more intelligent people saying the same thing I'm saying and then to make people realize oh yeah you're right there
Yeah.
um again we don't have
And the frustrating part is like I know that there's more intelligent people than I am that are saying the same thing. So it's like,
yeah,
how do we get it there? How do we find the more? Because there's definitely more common ground than there is different ground. Like I said,
mm-hmm.
like at the end of the day, what are we all going to the bathroom for? We're not
Yeah.
going in there to interact with other people. We're going in there to use the bathroom, wash our hands, and get out.
And I'll tell you I'm more scared going into the bathroom than any woman is you
Yeah.
know
Like someone early in my transition, like I was more afraid of going to the bathroom, or even still now, like it's still a sense of like I personally use a stall. If I don't if there isn't a stall available, I just don't use that bathroom. And even early in my transition, like if I didn't think there would be a stall, or if I was concerned about not passing, like I just either wouldn't use the bathroom, or I would go use the women's bathroom if that's where I felt most safe or most comfortable or what have you. Like it just depended. It wasn't a set down rule of like, okay, from here on out, this is the like even still, even now, like I will still go use the women's bathroom if the men's bathroom is out of order, and I may have Shay stand at the door just because it's not about the sign on the door, it's about what's in the room and what I
yeah
need to do in there.
yep I gotta go. Yeah, that's. I got business to tend to. Get out of my way.
Exactly.
Uh,
Exactly. Like I don't care
yeah,
what you got to do. I'm sure that you're just doing the same thing that I'm doing, and
and
I just want privacy. You want
yeah.
privacy.
Yeah, we're
I'm
not.
not
We're
looking at you as much as you are not looking at me. We're really not paying that much attention to each other. That's why you can't tell.
we just wanna. I just wanna pee in peace because I don't want to poop in public because that's definitely
I get it.
scary.
That is scary.
Um. Okay.
Never know what's gonna happen.
What would you say is your favorite part of being trans? And I guess what does being trans mean to you?
Oh, so that is a bit of a tough one. My favorite part about being trans, I think, is just my ability to live authentically as myself now. Like the fact that I feel so aligned with, and even this is even before like top surgery, for example. Like I feel so aligned with how I'm able to represent myself and externally express myself that it's freeing, and that's the best part by far. And as far as what it means to be trans, though, I think it's just it is as simple as having a different identity than what you were perceived with at the start of your life, or how you were perceived to begin with. I mean, I think it's the same concept that like intersex people deal with, in the sense of they were told that they were going to be a boy or a girl, whichever, from a young age, and then forced to live that, and that may or may not have aligned with their mental interpretation of who they were, and their mental, you know, image of who they are and how they want to navigate the world. It may not be the same. And so that, like, I think honestly intersex people kind of fall very much so under that trans umbrella, based on how they're treated, based on how they're perceived. And I feel like it does overlay a lot with the trans identity. Not to say that you have, obviously I'm not intersex, and I don't think you have to be one to be the other by any means, but to be trans, I do feel like you have an identity that's outside of the one that was assigned to you when you were born, and you are pursuing and expressing that to the best of your ability.
Um. I guess if you had a message for the trans youths out there,
Trans you.
that are because you know that they are our future. Um,
They are.
well, and they're everybody's future. They're not just ours. Like what advice or I guess what message would you have for them? To all the little baby
I would
transes.
say in a simple, concise way, I would say, just continue existing. Like even if things are hard, even if things are dark, like continue existing, because your existence alone is resistance, and that resistance is vital right now. It's especially in this political climate. It's just important that we just know that our existence is enough, and it's okay. Like even if you don't have as much support as you think that you do, there's more support out there that you just haven't found yet. And it does exist, and things will get better. Just persist and exist. That simply is what I would say to the trans youth right now.
Um, yeah, I think that's uh
I mean,
well
I
said.
think it's hard.
Yeah,
Obviously, it's like it's a case by case basis, of course. It's easier to say, just do that when, especially if you have a supportive family that maybe is taking you to therapy and maybe is getting you, on puberty blockers. And so, yeah, of course, it's easy to say exist and persist. But even for those kids that maybe don't have a supportive family, like you have support out there. You have support in friends, whether you realize it or not. They do exist. You maybe just haven't found them yet. And continuing to push through, you will find them. And I promise you, it things do get better. And I realize that people get told that a lot, but it's coming from a genuine place that with time things do get better, and you learn more about yourself, you learn more about other people, and you build those relationships out with time and existence.
yeah, I agree. I've been on HRT a year and a half ish. September of 22, 23. Is when I
Right.
started. And I've learned so much more in the last year and a half about myself than I have in probably in the last 43 years. Um, so yeah, it's and I think had I done this a lot earlier in life, I would have experienced that at a much younger age. I think appreciated it even more. Or maybe I
Yeah.
appreciate it more now that I'm older, because sometimes when you're younger, you kind of don't realize what's happening until way after. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I think persistent exist is yeah I don't think I can put it any better. Um,
Thank you.
yeah, so well said, well said. But what is the hardest part of being trans?
The hardest part of being trans.
I guess for you.
For me, I think it's so I to give you a little bit of a background, I live in Kentucky and I live in a rural part of Kentucky. So there is not a lot of um allies, if you will, directly near me. Hence part of the reason why I do some of the things that I do online specifically. But because of that, I feel like I'm not able to be identified by my community that quickly, especially out in the wild, if you will, out in public, where we oftentimes interact with people. Like it's a blessing and a curse to pass, in the sense of not of being perceived as a cisborn man in an area where you would like to be recognized by your community, not because I want to be recognized in a sense of like famous or anything like that, but just in a sense of like, I want you to know that you're safe with me as well. And that's not easy to portray unless I wear a big sign, which then brings in the question of safety and your surroundings and just where you're at. How safe are you in that environment for you to wear a sign that's so blatant to say, hey, I'm trans, especially in today's political climate in a red state. So there's it, like I said, it's very bittersweet. It's definitely my least favorite part is not being able to, be that beacon or be somebody that is easily like clocked as, hey, that's a safe person to go to. They,
I get you. Like I'm more
they have.
likely, like if I'm walking with a group of people, I'd rather at least one of those groups of people, one of the people in that
Mhm.
group, be someone I can identify with. And so if I
Yeah,
know like, oh, he's one of us,
yeah,
I'm gonna like just hang on to him. Yeah, that's tough because I mean, looking at you, yeah, I don't know that you're. I don't know that you're trans because you don't have a big sign that says I'm trans. Um,
exactly. And it's almost isolating in a way. Like how it makes you wonder like how do I connect with people that are nearby me? Because like it's not to say that an online community is not great. Of course it's great. Of
mhm.
course having support is fantastic, but there's also a value in having somebody nearby and getting to actually physically connect and hang out with somebody or go do things out and about with people that you have kindred spirits or like minds and just agree on certain things. That way you don't feel like such an outlier or such an outsider in that manner.
Yeah, I yeah. Um, what if any responsibility do you think do you have to the trans community?
I mean, I think what all of us have the responsibility of is just, and I don't think it's necessarily a fair responsibility. I think that it's unfortunate that I do feel like it's everybody's responsibility, but I think it's our responsibility to carry ourselves in a way that maybe we feel like is a good representation of our community. If that makes sense. And not just of our community, but like obviously you should be a good representation of yourself and you should be authentic to yourself. But I feel like oftentimes we meet other people with a defensiveness or an aggression that is not necessarily invalid,
Hmm.
but I feel like creates a barrier of communication. And I feel like my responsibility is to carry myself in a way that maybe doesn't have that same feeling. I don't want to meet somebody that is coming at me with hate with a lot of aggression, because what's going to happen? I'm just adding fuel to the fire. There's nothing that's going to be solved in that conversation. There's no minds that are going to be changed. There's no growth that's going to come from it. And I feel like one of my responsibilities is to provide growth, or at least provide maybe a different perspective of who it is that somebody is trans. There's so many media interpretations of trans people that, like, there's so many stereotypes, and maybe I don't fit that stereotype. Maybe I do. But even still, like, I'm still a human, and I feel like it's my responsibility to be a beacon, or somebody that maybe can shed some light onto some of the reasons why we struggle the way that we struggle, or why we feel the way that we feel, or maybe make the understanding of somebody that doesn't get it at all, at least provide them some compassion towards our community.
Yeah, no, and speaking of community, you
Hmm.
stream on Twitch. What's up with that?
So yeah, so that's what I was referring to about, like, online community and having online friends, and it's one of the greatest things. Like, I have really, I'm still new at it, so, like, it's still a growing community, of course, as I think every community always is, but it's young. We're coming up on, I guess, now 6 months or so that I've actually been streaming
Oh wow.
quite a bit, and it's it's come a long way. We started out on an iPad and just started with some co-working, and that's predominantly what we do. We are a co-working stream where we like to support each other, motivate each other to get things done. We have a task list so that you can keep track of your task and check in and have some accountability through the day. We use timers as well, so that way we have, scheduled breaks to kind of give our brains a break, and then allow us to really kind of break our day up into not necessarily bite-sized portions, but in manageable portions that we can actually get some good productivity in as well. And then, some weekends we have some random streams. We might play some games. We might do some truth or shots, give or take, depending on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
We have some. My partner joins me oftentimes. My fiance, she'll jump in a little bit on the truth or shots and answer some questions and fire some good answers out there that gets chat going pretty good. But yeah, no, absolutely. The Twitch link is twitch.tv/ thepoestguy666, and we stream Monday through Friday, usually 8 to 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time till about 5:30 p.m. Usually my whole work day, and I am hanging out, chatting, working from home, and hopefully providing a good vibe to everybody.
Yeah, I don't even know. I think so. I found you while I was still unemployed. So I was up in the morning, not doing anything. So I think
Yeah.
I just logged on the Twitch one morning. I was like, you know what? Let's let's look for trans streamers in the middle of the day. And I get all the way
Many.
down, yeah, and I see this one co-working stream. I go, wow, co-working stream. I haven't been in one of those streams in a while. And so I click on this guy, and I guess the rest is history.
There
I
we are.
Yeah, I have this uncanny ability, I think, that if I connect with, like, if I'm going to connect with someone, I connect with them like almost instantaneously, and
Oh yeah.
it's almost been like we've been friends for years.
Yes. No, it
Because
definitely feels like.
when I made friends with my old roommate, they used to stream on Twitch.
Hmm.
Um, and that's how I met them. And just going in there and their girlfriends stream one night, and a year and a half later, I was living up here. So I'm pretty. I think I kind of have that. I don't know if it's my sense of humor or that or charisma.
You're a natural treasure, Abby. You
Yeah.
must be protected at all costs.
That's um yeah, so I think you've done a great job with your community. I love it. I just when I started at the nursing home, I was slightly disappointed because
You abandoned it.
I don't get to spend my mornings with my boys. I don't you know it yeah, that was probably the only bad part about going back to work was missing your streams during the day, and I rush home, and I only live like 5 minutes away, but like I'll come to the door, throw everything down, and turn on the monitor, turn on the computer, turn on the other monitor, start getting unchanged, and everything, and then okay, I'm like okay, it's like 10 after. Good, I still can probably catch him for like 20 minutes. It's just
Yeah, no,
it's
I mean
yeah,
it
it's
is
my
usually
routine.
about 5:30. Now there's some days that I try and stay on and play some games. We've been exploring the games a little bit. I've downloaded and played a little bit of Oblivion recently since it got remastered. What else have we played? Crime Scene Cleaner. That's been a popular one for me. I've really enjoyed that game
Yeah,
recently.
that game looks pretty interesting.
Very satisfying.
Yeah. Um,
Really nice.
yeah, I think Twitch, I mean, back in the day, um Twitch, like there were a lot of like queer streamers.
Hmm.
But I think that's when I don't say that's back when it was like cool to be gay, but that's like when you were like, "Oh wow, that's a really neat niche." Like
Yeah.
two lesbians streaming together, or a trans person doing this. Wow, that's all. And now it's almost like it's just another tag. Um which I guess in a way is good because now
Yeah, like
we're
it's
part of the
definitely like
zeitgeist or whatever.
yeah, it doesn't it's almost like we don't I don't want to say we don't stand out as much because I think we definitely do, but I wonder if it has anything to do with how much the media has covered trans people so much recently that everybody's just kind of like, okay, like, can we talk about something different? Can we?
Can we please?
Like, I
Anything?
feel like the smoke and mirrors is almost fed up. Like everybody's kind of over it at this point. Like at least that I'm over it. Like I'm sure the rest of our community is over it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm over it. Let's not be a the hot
So
topic
get it.
anymore.
Yeah.
What are some yeah, am I on the right spot? What what are some common Oh no, there was one before that. I'm sorry. So what do you hope to accomplish on Twitch? I guess
Oh man.
what's the end game?
So I think about this a lot, and I still am trying to figure it out exactly. Like obviously, it's not. I say obviously, but it's definitely not some scheme of like I have aspirations of being like the biggest Twitch trans streamer or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But I do hope to have a following big enough that like we have a community that maybe helps provide resources for trans individuals in various states. Maybe we do fundraisers or have ways of making money so that we can, provide pro bono surgeries for various trans, intersex, non-binary individuals that may need them or are seeking gender affirming care. Like I want to do things that are and this is kind of a reason why I even joined the military is I want to do things that are bigger than myself. It's not about me benefiting from it. It's about me trying to help other people in what they need. And however it is that I can do that, that's what I want to do. I want to serve other people in my community. That's the big goal. How
That's
exactly it's still being figured out.
well, that was really deep. I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah, it's kind of like it feels bigger than like co-working, but I mean really like the co-working aspect is more for me. It's more my ADHD and the fact that like it helps me feel like I'm sitting with somebody while I'm streaming. So that part is for me, but like there's no there's not really many other incentives to it other than just the fact that I want to create a safe space for other people to come hang out, maybe share a little bit about their story, maybe get some productivity done, maybe just listen to music if that's what they're into, like, and just feel as well like they have another person existing with them that values them and that they can feel genuine in front of and feel like themselves in front of, because at the end of the day, like that, I just I want to be accepted for who I am, and so I wouldn't want to treat anybody else with less than that respect.
Yeah, yeah, no, I think that's a noble uh effort, and yeah, I think that's really cool.
Thank you.
What are some common misconceptions about trans men?
Well, one, that we're confused lesbians, because that's definitely not the case. Um, Two, I mean, I feel like there's stereotypes around men. Like I feel like a lot of when you look at stories about trans men, I at least from my experience, and maybe I'm wrong in this, I it's not like I watch every TV show that has a trans man in it, but I feel like the trope often is they're gay or that they are with another like a trans woman. Like that's the only option, or that's the only version of being a trans man. And I feel like those are kind of misconceptions because we can be straight, we can be bi, we can be pan, we can be gay. Like we can be all of those things just the same way that trans women can be all of those things, just the same way that a cis man or woman can be all of those things. And I feel like there's a lot of common misconceptions about that, or and I feel like that is still a feminizing of a trans man in a sense of, well, they must be gay, they must be a bottom, they must be this, they must be that. Like that's not that's not necessarily true. That's not necessarily at all true for some of them, for some of us, I should say. Um, but not only that, it's the fact that we can't do certain things or will always be perceived as a woman. Well, clearly that's not, regardless of what you think, like that's not the case, because I can guarantee you that Billy Bob down the road has no idea that I'm trans when I'm pumping gas beside him over here at the gas station. Like he just doesn't. So regardless of how he feels, like that misconception of I'll always be a girl, well, maybe you think that, but you're not going to treat me as a girl when you see me at wherever.
Right.
So regardless of your thoughts, like that misconception of, well, it's not the case.
Doesn't add up.
No, it doesn't add up. It doesn't actually happen like that. Got an itch over here. I'm not trying
No,
to show
no,
off my gun.
you're good. You know what? I'm getting Nancy. Can we do you want to take like a 5-minute break?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, let's do that, guys. We're gonna take where are you? There you are. We're gonna take a 5-minute break. Just so get up, stretch them legs, get something to drink, or
Okay.
take a hit off of your pen, whatever. Roll them if you
Whatever
got
you
them.
need.
Yeah, whatever you need. We'll be back in a few minutes. As
Alright.
soon as I find the right scene to go to. It's this one.
It feels opposite. I feel like the comfier clothes are in the men's sections. That's where I buy all my jeans.
Same.
They have much better like sizing and stuff, because you go to the women's section and it's like, this is a size 16, and it's like, what does that even mean when you go to the men's section and they're like, it is this wide and this long, and you're like, yes, thank you.
I feel that in my soul.
Balling.
Sorry, I can't tell.
No. Hey Google. Hey Google. How do I wash my hands?
Sorry, I don't understand, but I found something else. Do you want to know how often you need to wash your hands?
No, I don't. Never mind. Go to hell.
Dumb bitch. What the fuck is wrong with me? What is actually wrong with me?
Nice. And if you do that too, you'd probably be able to make the share screen of this of us like larger, like embiggen it, because the flags want to be kind of on the side, needing to be. Does that make sense? I'm not articulating with particularly well.
I think so. And then I thought I could get it in the basket, the waste basket.
Are we picking each other up on the other's headset? Taryn's gonna be sitting. You're not. You're Taryn. You're Clover.
I am.
Clover's gonna be in this window to my right. Sounds good? Okay. I think that's all I got for you, Taryn.
Yeah.
We just want to test that. We're watching the Eagles absolutely massacre the Commanders, and I'm loving every second of it.
Every single second of it.
And the funny thing is, every time I've come out to someone, I've I've been met with just such acceptance and love. It's I'm kind of taken aback by it, because people are like, "Oh, okay," and it's funny, like, people don't care. And I don't mean they don't care if they don't care about you. They don't give a shit. Like, okay, you're trans, or okay, you're gay.
When I got off of it, I basically I talked to you, Ryoku, because we were doing this interview, and I wanted to make sure that we were like, I read your message. I didn't talk to you, but I read your message. But everyone else, I just kind of ignored and just like tuned out and like hung out with someone that I really wanted to hang out with. And the next day, I like opened my phone and I looked at like my messenger, and it was like my best friend that I hadn't talked to in probably like 4 years. He was like,
Back. We are back. Welcome back, everybody. Please welcome back Dev. Trying to think where I am. Oh, this is a good one.
Oh.
When you look back in 10 years to right now, how will you remember it? Fondly, embarrassed, proud?
I think I'll be both fond and proud of it. I think that I'm at a point in my life where I'm kind of like at least it feels like I'm at a tipping stone. Like, I feel like things are kind of falling where they should. I feel more confident about myself. I feel like things are going to be happening in the near future that maybe have taken a long time to happen. And so I think that this period of my life I'll look back on and be very fond of it and proud and probably reminiscent on. I may think that I should have done some other things differently, but I think we all have those feelings when we look back at ourselves 10 years ago. So I hope at least that I make myself 10 years from now, I'm making myself proud. That's the goal.
I guess if you had to go back in time 10 years, I'll do the opposite.
Yeah.
What advice would you give yourself? Like, or what would you tell yourself?
So I mean, 10 years ago, so I'm what, 33. So this would be like just like a year before I'm starting testosterone.
Oh,
Mentally
wow.
thinking. As far as the time frame, I'm trying to think about what I was doing. 2015. I definitely was in the military, and I was thinking about whether or not I should transition, and I would definitely tell myself that I should just go for it and pull the trigger, that I've got the support, and even if it feels like I don't, like, I still can persevere and make it happen. I'm still resilient enough. I'm still, right in my thinking and feeling of who I am. It's correct, and it should be pursued. Because I think at that point in time, like, there was probably doubts. I'm sure I did have doubts. I think we all have those doubts prior to us transitioning or trying to pull a trigger, and maybe even have doubts while you're doing it. You feel like it's not working the way that it should, or you wonder if it's doing anything at all, and I would also tell myself to document more. That's my biggest advice to, like, just about anybody that is transitioning is just to document, take pictures of yourself,
Yep.
record your voice, do those things even if you don't feel like it, because you will look back and you will appreciate it. There's periods of time that I didn't do that. There's been a lot of times that I was not confident enough or didn't take a lot of selfies or didn't record my voice. I started a YouTube channel and never kept up with it. But I wish I had, because then I would have that to look back on and be able to not only use now or show other people, but just see my own growth and appreciate it more. Because without looking back, you can't appreciate the future. You can't even appreciate where you're at, I don't think, until you see the growth that you've had. And it's all about progress.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I lost my train of thought there. But yeah, I think that was well said.
What you got next?
Let's see. Up next, we did that one. What is? Oh God. Oh, what is? I guess what is the most gendering gender affirming thing that you do?
Oh, most gender affirming thing that I do?
Yeah, that was a late entry.
It's probably has to do with like keeping up with my beard. Like I really appreciate that. That, and then, I think one of the strangest places that I've ever experienced new hair growth has been like here on the outside of my ear. Like I get little long like old man papaw hairs. It feels like I gotta trim them. But it's super affirming to me, because it's like, at least in my mind, like that's not a feminine thing that happens. Like I've never seen long hairs like that on my grandma or anybody. So it's like, in my mind at
Mm-hmm.
least, that's super. It's just a little manly thing that happens.
I'm giggling because I know you can't I know you can't see chat, and
No,
the claw said giving Shay money question mark LOL. The
that's not
claw
gender affirming for
knows.
me. I think it's more gender affirming for her.
The good one. I mean, well, no. Typically in the relationship, the man is the
Well,
one to like give the wife um
yeah,
money.
no. Look, if
Yeah.
I could be that kind of breadwinner, that I could be like, here, baby, go do
Here,
this,
baby. Go
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 do that. Like,
go
would I?
go have a good night at
Absolutely.
bridge club.
I unfortunately not. The poest guy is a play on words as well.
um, give me 1 second. I'm noticing how
Yeah.
bad the lighting is becoming, and I look like a vampire.
I can't see you, so you look beautiful to
Oh,
me.
well, thank you.
I mean, you look beautiful when we started, so that's what I'm going off of.
Oh, okay, okay, good. I want to make sure I wasn't getting uglier by the minute. See, I'm a professional streamer. I just do things on the fly. That's a little better.
Hey, I get it. I did not set up a ring light. I forgot that it was going to get dark. But
Yeah,
I think it's still okay.
every so often the old noggin's working. That, and I just try to put a little bit more effort into these streams just because they're more fun.
This has been fun.
Who who uh who are some trans icons or trans people that you look up to?
I think Laverne Cox is definitely a pretty obvious choice. I think she's done a lot of activism, and I say that also because I feel like she carries herself in a way that is very honorable and just represents our community in a good way. Um, that being said, I also really appreciate Aiden Dowling. He's the founder of Point of Pride org. He's a trans man that I've followed on social media for many years. He has done personal training, I believe, as well. But
Oh
his Point of
wow.
Pride organization does provides gender affirming care, like surgeries and things like that, to trans, non-binary, intersex individuals of any sort. Um, and I mean, he's definitely a big role model of mine because I feel like that's along the same lines of exactly what I want to do. To be able to meet him and like kind of collab, that'd be awesome.
Well, I think you already answered my next like 11 questions. If you could have dinner with any trans icon, who would it be?
It probably
And
would be eight.
yeah,
Yeah, I would like to like I said, I would just like to talk to him about his journey. There's obviously some differences between he and I, and as far as our journeys to some degree, but I feel like they also kind of line up a little bit because, like, I mean, like I said, I've followed him for quite a few years. He's, I would say, farther down his transition line. He's been on T for quite a number of years longer than I have, I believe. But I just like to talk to him about how his organization works, how he started that, why he started it, what motivated him to do that, um, and like what other plans he has for that. How does he intend on improving that or making it bigger or helping more people? What his goals are in those regards, and how I could maybe help out with that.
um, real quick, Daddy asked who the guy's name was again, that he hadn't heard of him.
Aiden Dowling.
Aiden.
He was on the cover. I think he was on the cover of Men's Health magazine one
Wow,
year.
really?
Yeah, like he's done some things. I can't remember why he was on there. I want to say it was physical fitness, obviously.
Okay. I guess the next question is where where are you guys going for lunch? Where's what place would this be at?
Oh man, I don't know. Like I don't get to eat such great food anymore, so I don't have like a favorite place. I mean, I could be as basic as Cracker Barrel and just get me some chicken and dumplings and be happy.
Stop. My God, you're gonna make me hungry. We were just talking about how we both have to eat after this, and you bring up
I know.
not all of us have Cracker Barrels at our
Yeah, you
disposal,
had to bring the
Dev.
question up, Abby. You opened the door.
Green Cracker Barrel is a that's a solid pick.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's
And
one
affordable too. So I mean,
huh? And
I said
affordable?
it's affordable too. Yeah, like by the time like if at least if you're a water drinker, I mean you can get a chicken and dumplings and I think it's 2 or 3 sides for like $10, and that's what you're gonna spend going to McDonald's or wherever. Close to $10 for a meal.
God, what did I used to always get from there? I think I used to always get the hash brown, was it hash brown casserole or something like that?
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There
Hash brown
used to be,
casserole.
yeah.
Casserole is
Oh,
fantastic.
there.
Absolutely.
I think it's still there. There's one right up the Delaware Memorial Bridge on the Jersey
Mhm.
side, and there is one. I think that's I guess technically Binghamton, or right outside of Binghamton because I passed that on 81 when I had my parents. But oh, I haven't been I haven't been to a Cracker Barrel in I can't tell you how long.
I know too many fun facts about Cracker Barrel that are just random.
I feel like there's not enough fun facts that one could know about Cracker Barrel.
Oh, did you know that they don't have them in Alaska and Canada? And the reason for that is not because there's not people there that would eat it, but or there's not a market for them to have a store there, but it's because at every restaurant they keep the price the same. So, because they can't keep the prices the same at those restaurants, they would have to change the prices. They just won't build a restaurant there.
Why do they gotta change the price? In
Because to the cost of getting the goods there or the cost of labor
Oh,
or
is
fuel
Hawaii
or
is
something
do they
like
have one in Hawaii?
that. Mm-mm.
Oh, so okay, so Alaska, Canada, and
Alaska
Hawaii.
and Hawaii. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's 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 interesting. What else you got?
That's the main one. That and the fact that every because of that, every one of the restaurants has the same prices. That's why I'm like, It's like $10 for a meal. Like at every one of them, it doesn't matter where you go. It's gonna be $10 for a meal.
Love.
Round about that. I mean, obviously, there's more expensive meals that
Yeah.
you can get for sure,
Mhm.
and less, I'm sure.
I don't
But
know if there's.
who
There's
else has
no.
breakfast all day like that? Pancakes that good
Listen,
all
any
day?
any place that serves breakfast all day. I don't know if you guys have these things called diners down there.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Waffle House.
Well, think about a Waffle House, but
Better.
it's better. It's real
Yeah.
food, real people.
Real people.
Yeah.
Not these
Uh,
AI machines
yeah,
that are
some of those
taking
AI
over.
machines taking over. I love any diner that serves breakfast all day is a
Yeah.
5-star diner in my eyes. Like the fact that like if
Yeah.
I go in there at 3 in the afternoon and get French toast and
Yes.
and corned beef hash and some scrapple, I sign me the hell up all day, every day. I love breakfast.
Yeah. Breakfast is the best. Best meal of the day. Even if I don't eat it every day, it's still the best meal. It's because you can have it at any point in time in the day and it's still delicious. But
I
like,
was
I am not a hot take, not a person that can eat like I can't do dinner foods for breakfast. I can't.
no,
I can't do it.
I
Nope. You
it's
don't give me spaghetti and meatballs for breakfast. I'm not gonna eat
well, no,
that.
that's
Sorry.
disgusting.
Like a
Uh,
lot of dinner foods though. Like, give me another example, and I probably can't do it for breakfast.
I guess like pizza.
Nope, nope. Maybe if it's cold pizza and it's got to be like, I just got to be in the right mood for it. But for the most part, I'm not usually.
Wow. I mean, I don't really think of. There's most dinner food. I'm not gonna have like leftover like shrimp Alfredo for
Like,
breakfast.
yeah, no, I couldn't do that for breakfast. Or like leftover Chinese food. Like, that's a no go for me. I know some people who can, but not me.
So I could, if I wake up at like 10 o'clock and get out of bed at
Yeah.
like 11:30, then yeah, it might as well be lunch.
I mean, maybe if it's like 11:30, yeah, I could probably push it. But like if we're talking, I get up way earlier than that, Abby.
Yeah,
I'm a morning person. I pop up ready to go and it's like 6:30, 7 o'clock.
yeah. I'm not looking forward to much. I'm glad I have a job where I hate Mondays again. That
Yes,
is
tomorrow is Monday.
that's refreshing. So and you kind of already talked about this. I guess so. You said it would be Cracker Barrel. That's where we're going to meet your guy. What would you guys? I guess you kind of answered this already, but we kind of went on a tangent about Cracker Barrel and diners. What would you guys talk about?
Hang on just a moment. Give me just a second.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. What would we talk about? Oh yeah, no, definitely we would talk about like how he how he got to where he's at, what made him want to pursue those things. I'm just curious as to what his thought process was behind everything and what motivated him to make of himself and accomplish as much as he has and help out so many other individuals in the ways that he has. He actually like he also had, for example, an app that was specifically for trans people to be able to kind of connect and communicate and share their progress and support each other and all those things. And it, unfortunately, I think financially it just didn't work out. He obviously was trying to keep the ads and everything low, but with him running a nonprofit, there's only like there's not a profit there. You know what I mean? Like where is he getting the funding to keep this app going, especially if he's not advertising on it or anything like that? And I think that's one of the reasons it went under, but I'm curious as to what his long-term goal was. Like what more did he have in mind that he didn't get to accomplish with it? I think that would just be an interesting conversation to have with him. And then of course, what his goals are for Point of Pride. Obviously, he is doing big things. He's helping people get that gender affirming care, but does he have goals of opening up like his own medical facility, for example? Does he have aspirations of um, having physical locations that maybe shelter youth that are trans or in the LGBTQ community that maybe are kicked out from their home? Like, is that an aspect that he's wanting to go into? What more does he want to do, if any more? Like, maybe he's satisfied with where he's at and continuing that and not necessarily growing it that much. I don't know, but I'd pick his brain about it.
That's yeah. That was kind of a late. That was another one. That was kind of like a late entry type question. I'm like, oh, I'm like, damn, it's. I have some crazy shit pops in my mind at random times of the day, and most of it I'm not smart enough to write down. Like I thought of something yesterday, and I was like, wow, I should write this down, and I didn't, and I have no idea what it was. It is gone forever. So yeah, I wrote this one down, and yeah. And you said Cracker Barrel. Did you say like why Cracker Barrel, or just because they got them biscuits?
Oh, I mean, they got them biscuits, they got that chicken and dumplings, they got the breakfast. Like, why not Cracker Barrel?
Yeah, I guess that's a good question. Like,
Affordable.
why wouldn't you pick Cracker Barrel?
Like, I mean, of course, there's fancier places. I could have gone with like Bonefish, or I could have gone with like
I'm sorry,
an
Bonefish is.
Italian place in Louisville called Chow that was really good that I've eaten at. Or I mean, I could have listed other
Yeah,
places that
no, and
are good.
I'm not putting you
But
down for the
where is consistently gonna give me food that I know is gonna satisfy me? Cracker Barrel.
Cracker Barrel. I guess that's all the questions I really have.
Oh man, we flew through them, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, but I'm now gonna open since we have a little bit of time.
Yeah.
And we can end a little bit early because neither one of us has eaten.
Yeah.
So I open up the chat for questions for our guest tonight, thepoestguy666, aka Dev. So
What you got, chat?
Chat, fire away. All right, the first one. Wow, the claw was ready.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah. They fire off with, how do you think the LGBTQ plus community could support the trans part of the community more? Ooh.
I mean, I think that just acknowledging and spreading the information that trans women are women and trans men are men, and just they're just humans trying to exist. And not only spreading that information, but acknowledging and confirming that information themselves. Like, that's a big part of our existence, is just being respected in our existence.
Yeah, the only thing I would add to that is, just people that, LGBTQers that aren't trans, is like, come be at our rallies. Be
Yeah.
out there protesting for us. Like,
You expect to have allies be an ally.
Yep, like exactly. Like, it's not the LGBTQ. It's like we're all one thing. We're one family.
We're
And
all a minority.
yeah, we're all yeah. And we need you now more than ever. So like, be out there, protest with us. You know, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty, like us.
Yeah, I mean, we're not it they start with us, but they are not going to end with us.
Yeah.
It doesn't We're just the easiest target. Like yes, we are the pawn, but we are also just the easiest target. We're the smallest minority, essentially.
It's like I say, first they came for us, then they came for the mice. So, if trans mice aren't safe, you think you're safe there, Nathan? I was trying to think of a. I don't know. I could see Nathan Lane. There we go. He's a gay male named Nathan. Um, let's see. Daddy be hung. Chris asks, what changes have you noticed since starting T that you were not warned about?
Oh, I don't know if that was a good idea or not. What changes have I noticed since starting T that I was not warned about?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think ironically, I'm gonna say the ear hair thing again. Like that, I was not I was not prepared for that. Like I know that it happens, but it was one of those things like you just don't think about it's gonna happen to you. At least not this early. Like I'm only 33. I'm not. I didn't think I was old enough to be growing little hairs on the side of my ears, just hanging out, just just growing little black hairs. Barber has to trim them up for me.
um, Mayhem asks, "What do you think trans men can do for each other support wise?" I would say y'all could just come and cuddle me. That would be, I mean, that's great support for me, but I think you guys would also enjoy it. What do you think, Dev?
I mean, I think acknowledging that it's not a competition between us. Like, it's not who can pass better or who's more manly or who does the less feminine things or anything. Like, I feel like those are, we talked about misconceptions earlier. I feel like those are common things that are misconceived about trans men is like we are afraid to do something feminine or with that we must compete to be more manly than the next trans guy or more manly than the men that we know and whoever, and it's like that's not the case. That's not how we should communicate with each other. We need to just support each other and just be there for one another and understand that like really we nobody else is going to understand what we're going through and what you're feeling more than another trans guy. And while everybody's path is going to be different, obviously your perspective and your journey and your transition is going to be different than my transition. But just actually listening to and maybe taking some solace in some of the advice that you do get from other trans men, assuming that it's good advice, should be listened to. It should be, we should share that and we should support each other and then receive that information accordingly as well.
Um, where did it go? Jeppy 912
Yes. Yeah.
asked, as a cis person, when I'm out in public and meet someone who I'm suspecting the person being trans, is it disrespectful to ask them, or is that a person to person choice?
I think I do think it's typically disrespectful to ask somebody if they're trans, like because
We're not trying
one,
to be.
it brings.
Well, I would say like we're not. I would agree. I also think it's because we're not
Yeah,
trying to
well,
stick out. We don't want to be noticed, for the most part.
yeah, that and not only that, but it's like how how can you be sure that you asking is a safe thing for you to do for them? How can you be sure that it's a safe place for them to be outed if they are?
Yeah, that's a good point.
And I say that because I like for me safety is a big thing because I'm a blue dot in a red state. There's not like I have not met many. It's not a huge community of trans guys out of Kentucky. I'm not saying we don't exist. Of course, there is a population of us. Don't get me wrong, but it's very thin as far as like where we're located. It's not like we're all in one place. So it's not necessarily I feel like it's not necessarily safe all the time for me to just be out and about and tell people that I'm trans. Sometimes it is. Sometimes I feel more confident and I just maybe don't care or have more confidence about me in general. But that to me is the biggest red flag is like it may not be safe for them. Maybe they're around people that aren't saying anything or maybe there's people around you that maybe don't think highly of it. Like you just never know. That and like Abby said, like before I passed consistently, like I didn't want to be I didn't want somebody to ask me if I was like it because
Yeah.
it's like,
Because then I think I'm doing it wrong.
yeah, that or I feel like I'm sticking out, or like
Yeah, exactly,
I might make
exactly.
somebody else like I'm a super big person on like how other people feel. So my
Ugh.
concern would be that I was making somebody else uncomfortable just by being trans, which is a crazy concept because existing should not make other people uncomfortable as a human.
But that's relatable because I feel that way sometimes. So
Yeah,
I don't. Yeah. Yeah. Um. Yeah. Let's see. So yeah. So
who's
yeah.
next? Who's
I
next?
I would say let's see. Next is what advice? This is from the Claw. So this will be good. What advice would you give someone who is trans about dating and meeting new people, like coming out, safety, etc.? And I'm actually glad you asked because I'm curious on how to do this because I'm trans and I'm trying to date
I
one of y'all.
mean,
One
to
of y'all.
me, I I think being trans and dating is has a lot of difficulties to it. The way that I navigated it, the way that I felt most comfortable navigating it, was to really do online dating, and I tried to use apps that were targeted to my community because for me that felt like the easiest way of finding somebody that was at least going to be like-minded to me. Now, were they going to be super close to me? Probably not. Again, blue dot red state. That and the people that I knew that were around me were not people that I was interested in. That I knew for sure. So I knew I wanted someone that came from a different area of me, at least to some degree, had a little bit of a different mindset, had, maybe had some city life in them, or I like just something different than my small town mindseted people that I was surrounded by. But even then, I found it easiest to out myself to begin with. I didn't want to deal with the rejection later on of somebody finding out that I was trans if they didn't know off the rip and having some preconceived. I just didn't want to deal with the rejection essentially, and I felt like by putting that as a one of the first things out there for me and just outing myself off the get go, that was the easiest way for me to kind of weed out people that weren't going to be there for me anyway, because they weren't going to want to interact with me if they knew I was trans before they
I think that's fair.
talked. Like, so that's how I navigated it, and I realized that not everybody wants to. Everybody, some people want to be just perceived as just a guy, and that's there's nothing wrong with that. I just
No, I think it's a safety thing too. So,
yeah,
because
well
take it
that
as a trans woman, if I, I'm on, let's just say we'll use Tinder, and some
yeah
guy swipes right on me because maybe I like this cis dudes. Ugh. Uh, so if I'm meeting up with them, I want them to know what they're getting themselves into. I think
yeah
it's respectful. Like
yeah.
they've been upfront and honest with me with everything. I should be upfront and honest with them.
So this brings me to a different question that I'm gonna ask. I'm gonna flip the tables a little bit, flip the
Oh,
script here, man, if you don't mind. Conversation topic wise, it is related, but I've heard people be like I've heard the argument oftentimes that like, well, it's like we had that person get in my chat the other day that essentially called me a trap, which is based around what? It's based around the deception that we are not who we say we are. So while we're talking about dating and we're talking about disclosing the fact that we're trans to avoid rejection, what I guess is your take, or have you even heard about this perception of um, doing like the fact that because we're trans we are deceiving others just in their perception of us once we pass?
whoa! Wait, you flipped the table. Um,
I want to talk about it. Like
gosh, yeah,
even if you don't have an answer,
I,
like
I
I'll talk
think,
about it.
I
Like
think, I yeah, because at the same time, like, I don't want to be known as a trans woman. I want to be known as a woman. But unfortunately, I got dealt a shitty hand and I got fucked on the flop. Um, it is what it is. Like this is my curse, and I have to live with it. I should not put. I think and again, it's a safety thing. It's like, because how do you know he's not gonna fly off the handle? Like, and I guess the question is, well, do you tell him on the first date? Do you wait do you wait until it gets more intimate? And I think you made it perfectly. You said it perfectly. Like, if they're gonna reject you for being trans, they're gonna reject you. So why waste your time for 6 weeks? Uh, it's
Or
like
however long. Right?
Yeah,
Like, you know.
because you're not lying to them, you're lying to yourself. Yeah, that's my 2 cents.
No, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's a good. I mean, and you bring up good points, because it's not we're not deceiving people, and we're not trying to deceive people either.
Yeah. Well, my thought process on it as well was like, even if you perceive it as deception, like, okay, even if you refuse to acknowledge the fact that even brain chemistry wise, because if you've ever watched like Gender Evolution on National Geographic with I think it's Katie Couric, they actually show like brain scans of like a cis man and a trans man, and how their brain scans are very similar. So it's not just like a made up thing. Like there is scientific evidence that supports trans people are genuinely just that. Like they were just kind of born in the wrong body in a sense. Mentally they are a man, or mentally they are a woman, and they were just born in the wrong body. And that that concept of excuse me, that concept of like the fact that we might be perceived as deceiving other people because they can't automatically clock that we're trans for whatever reason that may be, I don't feel like is genuine. Like I don't feel like that we're being deceitful just because you can't tell that we're trans. How is it how is that changing? I just don't understand what it matters when it comes to how the other person is going to treat me. Like you're going to respect me as a man, or you're going to disrespect me as a man, and it's not going to be because of the fact that I'm trans. It's going to be because of how you feel about men until you do know that I'm trans. But that's
yeah,
not
and
deceit on my part.
it's no, it's yeah, and I think, as far as, I guess, like, trying to change minds and whatever, like, we're not gonna, uh, we change minds by like listening, and
Yes.
but that be said, they also have to listen to us and what we have to say about it. I think there's not enough of that in anything we do.
Yeah.
Um, and yeah, that was a good question, Dev. I
Thanks.
wasn't expecting the
Sorry,
tables to get
I
turned
didn't mean
like
to flip
that.
the script on you like that and catch you off guard.
No,
I
no,
it
you're
was
good.
something that I have been asked recently in a stream, and so it's kind of stuck in my head a little bit.
Do you have advice for, this is from Mayhem, for trans men and finding comfort with their own masculinity in a healthy way?
Yeah, I mean, I think that one thing that you can do is find other men that are still partaking in the activity that you want to do, because it doesn't matter what activity it is. Like you can literally tell me anything and I can go and find you a cis man that does it. Like I don't care what it is. You want to cut hair, you want to garden, you want to uh, crochet or knit or make rugs, do art. Like, and I'm not even saying that those are inherently feminine things. I'm just thinking about stereotypically what society will call something feminine. Not that I agree that that's the case. Any activity that you want to do, and I can find you a man or a woman doing it. Welding, for example, that would be considered a more masculine trait. Like it, there isn't anything masculine or feminine about it. And I think that once you come to terms with that and acknowledge that, it's much easier for you to just be the man that you want to be, because it doesn't take you having to be so masculine. The confidence that you have in who you are and just being authentic to that, like, if you are carrying yourself as the man that you want to be, you're going to be perceived as that man that you want to be. As long as you take the actions that lead you to be the person, like, if you think about the person that you want to be and the actions that they would take, and you take those same actions, you are going to be that person that you want to be by proxy.
Um,
That's my advice. Take that and run with it.
yeah, no, that's I had a thought and I completely lost it. I gotta start just
You get it.
spouting shit out when as soon as it pops in my mind. Because it was gonna be a good like I think back and forth. Uh, oh boy, hang on. Who is Oh, that's because I was thinking of this answer. Um, who is a straight person who you admire due to their alliance to the LGBT community? You go. I'll let you. I'll let you think about it because I kind of know my answer. I want to say Patrick Dempsey. Because I believe, former actor, race car driver Patrick Dempsey. Um, on the set of Grey's Anatomy, he got into like an actual like physical altercation with a co-star because he called the uh the gay co-star like a homophobic slur, and Patrick Dempsey kind of like stood in and kind of like was like, "Yo, I'll I'll
That's
fuck
so
you
funny.
up." Yeah. Yeah, that was quite a long time ago. Other than that, I don't know. I don't really like straight people.
Yeah, like, it's taken me a minute to rack my brain, and the first person that comes to mind, and I could be wrong. He might even be bi, and I could be. This may not even count, but it would be Pedro Pascal. His sister is trans, and he's been. I don't know if you've seen the "Protect the Dolls" white T-shirt with like
Yeah,
black text. Yeah, he's kind of the reason that's getting real big.
Lady Gaga, our
Yes,
our our queen.
yes, but I feel like she's too fabulous to just be straight.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's a
that's
good.
my thoughts on that. I could
Uh,
be wrong,
Taylor
but
Swift.
she's.
Taylor loves us.
I
Are you
agree.
not a Swiftie?
No. I didn't say I disagree. I'm just saying I am saying the same as what I said about Lady Gaga. I feel like there's been some
Okay, okay,
dabbling.
yeah. Oh wow, ooh. No, because she would have sang about it. Girl,
Ah,
Princess Diana.
Princess Diana is a good one.
ooh, wow, wow. Shame on us. Shame on us. That should have been the first. At least me,
Oh,
as
and apparently you need to listen to Cornelia Street as far as Shay is concerned regarding innuendos about ladies.
I'll write that down. I'll look at that after stream.
I'll text
Um,
it to you.
yeah. Okay. Where are we? Who is a straight person? Okay, we did that one. Dev, are you ever gonna do a 24-hour stream? It's actually funny because we
Yeah.
were talking about this recently.
Yes. So I do have a plan. I think maybe in July sometime, depending what happens. I think sometime in July I'm gonna do a 24-hour stream. I don't know if it'll. I still need to figure out some logistics about it. I don't know if it'll be a subathon. I don't know if it'll be just a streamathon, if you will. I don't know. I don't know yet, but we'll figure something out. And there will be hopefully some giveaways. Is my in my plan. I'd like to do some
Ooh.
giveaways. Um, I'd like to do some kind of community something or another where I sacrifice some part of my facial hair, I'm sure, for the betterment of our community and the excitement of our community and entertainment.
Like we
Entertainment likely being the biggest factor, but
um That's the claw has a good one that I actually have. I have really strong opinions about this one.
Okay.
What advice would you give parents who are very disapproving of their child being trans? Was are your parents disapproving? My parents didn't give a shit, to be honest. The first thing my mom said to me was, "Can you?" She goes, "Can you afford that?" And I was like, "Afford what?" And she said, "The surgeries." And I said, "What surgeries?" I go, "Mom, I'm just coming out. Like, if any surgery, that's years down the road."
Yeah.
They were great. Um, the thing I would tell disapproving parents is like, listen, I get it. I'm not a parent, but when we're young, I think the minute we pop out of our mama's hoo-has, our parents have our whole lives planned out for us. We're going to be doctors. We're going to be lawyers. We're going to be five-star. We're going to be, Olympic athletes, running back for the Eagles, a race car driver, an astronaut, a physicist, a scientist, a teacher. And they have it all planned out for us. And then one day, everything's going good. We come home and we say, "Yo, guess what? What? I'm not this gender. I'm actually this gender." And the whole world just the whole future you had planned for their child crumbles in front of you, and it's devastating because you're like, I never planned for this. And I think what I would tell them, in lieu of that, like they're just as confused and scared as you are. Like this is the time you need them most. Like it's okay not to understand things, but it's also okay to learn new things. And I think that's something, again, I keep coming back to it. We need to listen, and we need to come from, a different place than they're coming from, than they're coming at us with. It's
Mhm.
you can't meet uh hate with hate. You can't
Yeah.
you can't meet you can't beat fire with fire. And
Yeah.
we're going to change minds by meeting people in the middle and listening to what each other has to say and educating them. Um, and that's my 2 cents. I actually met a couple last year at Pride. They were You talk about just coincidence or fate. Um, I ordered a drink at the bar at the hotel we were staying at, and there was this couple, probably middle aged, and they asked me what drink I got, and so I tell them, and then we got to talking. They tell me that her son is trans. I think he might have just not been, they might not have been married, or he just might have been like a boyfriend. Um, so she tells me how her son is trans, and like what that's been like, and how it's hard to get used to this, and that her son wants her to take all the pictures down from before he transitioned, and all this. And I'm like, yeah, and I told her what I just said, that I think it's tough for the parents, and I think we as the children need to understand that and be, and I don't do this, but that's because I'm a shit kid. Um, we need to be patient because it's new
Yeah.
for them too. Like,
Yeah. So I mean, what I would say is like to any parents that are disapproving, like one, you need to ask yourself what is it that you're really disapproving? Because clearly, like you said, like obviously a lot of parents have our whole lives planned out for us from the moment we're born and what they expect us and hope for us to do and achieve and all these things. And on one hand, it's like just because someone says they're changing gender, that doesn't mean that they can't still achieve those things that they want to achieve or that you have hope for them or maybe that they even fall in line with. Do you want them to be a doctor or maybe they still want to be a doctor? There's nothing wrong with them being a trans doctor. Like they're still just because they're telling you that they're a different gender doesn't mean they're a different person. Like obviously we grow and we change into different
mm,
versions of ourselves, but at the core of it, we are all still the same person as we were. We have the same character that we've built and grown into over time. And that doesn't change just because we're trans. And it doesn't mean that we are any less deserving of love. And that's also what I would tell disapproving parents is like, this is still your child that you vowed to love unconditionally, but you're creating a condition now. And that's not right. Same token as you just said, anybody that's transitioning, we need to provide more grace to our parents and to our loved ones that are also having to learn new things. It's just as confusing as it is to you to not understand what is going on or what gender you are or how to navigate in a new gender because you've been raised in the different gender and or the first gender that you were raised in, and learning how to communicate and navigate literally life, how you're perceived, how you carry yourself, how you interact with others, what you say, how you stand, like all these aspects, you're having to learn that. Well, they're having to learn how to perceive that new version of you, how to perceive that perception that you're portraying now. And it's different than what they perceived you as for me, 20 some years of my life, and for you, I assume, longer than that. So it's like how can you expect them to so quickly just flip a switch and get it right every single time when they're having to relearn who you were? And not only that, I think as far as like our past and like pictures and things like that go, like I think too often do we criticize our childhoods, and not to say that everybody had a great childhood. I understand that not everybody does, and some like I recognize that some people might find it super triggering to look at their childhood pictures, but at the same time, like you are still who you are because of who you were then.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is still you. Like there are things that happened and there are parts of you that are who you are that were created then that doesn't just disappear just because you're trans. And just because you acknowledge that aspect of yourself doesn't make you less trans. It doesn't make you less woman. It doesn't make you less man than who you are to yourself. You know what I mean? Like that doesn't change just because you do see those pictures or do. Now I'm not saying that they should be up. I'm not saying, maybe it's a memory that they keep in their bedroom instead of having them displayed all around the house, for example. Maybe that's a compromise that can be said in that argument, for example. Um, but I think being met with grace is a big factor for parents that isn't afforded to them nearly often enough. And I think their effort maybe isn't met with as much grace as they should be. I think the effort should be acknowledged. Like even if they slip up, they're gonna slip up. They're gonna mess up. It's gonna happen. But when you can tell that they're actually trying, even when it's something as simple as using a gender neutral pronoun instead of the, male or female pronoun that you prefer, that's still effort. That's still progress.
Yeah.
Take that as a win.
Okay, give me 1 second because we're running low on
Oh, you're
time
good.
and everyone's asking some really great questions. Um, Jeppy asked, uh, is it respectful to ask pronouns if I'm unsure? I want to make
Yeah.
sure I'm regarding. Yeah, that's obviously don't run up to people and be like, "What are your pronouns?" Like that might offend people. Um, but yeah, if you're not sure, like, hey, my pronouns are whatever, whatever. What are yours?
Yeah.
Um,
Or what exactly that. What are your preferred pronouns? Like I don't want to disrespect you. What are your preferred pronouns?
okay, and then the claw. We're gonna end it, I think, with the claw's last two questions because my ass needs to shove some food in it. I'm
Got
just
it.
also looking for who to raid if we're even gonna raid.
I'm gonna look over and catch up on chat a little bit because I haven't this whole
Yeah,
time.
yeah. If you want to tackle those last two for, unless I missed another one. I know Mayhem asked about toaster strudels, but Let's see.
I see what is something, if anything, about your trans journey that you feel maybe isn't relatable to most trans people. Is there another one that I'm missing?
No, that might be, or is that the other question? No, that's. I think that's it.
Okay. What is something, if anything, about your trans journey that you feel maybe? I think the fact that I have never and except for maybe my middle name, I won't change my name. Like my name, my birth name is still the same name that I go by to this day, and I don't think that that's
Oh,
very. Yeah, like I never changed it, and I can't imagine going by something different than what I've always been called. Like there's nothing more that I feel like fits me. It and I was fortunate enough to have a gender neutral name to begin with. So it's not anything that like you would even really suspect, if that makes sense. Like but I've never changed it. So I feel like I don't relate to the fact of having a dead name or being called something that you're not other than just pronouns. And I think honestly that's kind of made it probably more difficult on my family to kind of get in their head that I'm a different version of myself now because they didn't have a different name to call me. They didn't have a different identity, if you will, to give me other than just what I had always gone by.
yeah. I
But yeah,
guess
that's
I guess for me is it's not it's kind of the other way around. Like I find and something that's I don't need to have a therapy session, but it's something that's kind of bothered me that I can't relate to other people's trans stories or transness, if that makes sense. And it has me questioning my own transness at times. And am I even trans? Am I this? Am I that? And so yeah, that's how I don't relate to other trans people. I don't think their story is quite like mine. I hope the story is not quite like mine. 'Cause it's not fun
well, I mean, I think
sometimes.
everybody's story is definitely gonna be different. Like your story is definitely gonna be individual to you. I think there are facets of them that probably overlap a little bit here and there, but even not for everybody. Like I would argue that like even then there's other things. Like I feel very binary in my masculinity. Like I feel and I'm secure in that. Like not to say that like I can't wear fingernail polish or anything like that. Like if I wanted to, I could absolutely. But it's just not that's not something that I want. I just don't want to. I just don't like fingernail polish, for example.
Hmm.
But that's not to say that I think it's feminine to do so. But even still, like as far as the trans experience goes, I don't think that necessarily everybody. I feel like now it's a lot more common for it to be more accepted, and that's
Hmm.
the reason I gave it as an example. Um, but I don't think that like necessarily every trans story that I hear is the same. I think a lot of times our perspective overlaps. I've seen a lot
Oh
of
my God.
what?
Um, I think I need a second. Hang on.
Okay,
Oh my God. Um, I think someone I follow on Twitch died. Hang on. Maybe not. I don't.
I'd be trolling.
No, whatever. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're good. I
Um,
was just saying that I think that maybe I mean, and this might be pompous if I say it like this, but I mean, maybe it just takes finding more people that are along the same aspect, like the same timeline as you are in your transition, or just other examples of what you feel like you're going through that maybe you just haven't been exposed to yet. I hope that doesn't come off as pompous.
No, I don't.
Just like it's one of those things where it's like I feel like there's definitely individualized aspects to everything, but it's got to overlap to some degree. Like I wouldn't doubt your transness so much.
Yeah, it's and again, I don't always. It's just sometimes I feel like I'm not doing it right.
I think you're doing just fine, from my perspective at least. Not that that matters that much, but you find somebody to raid. You looking around still?
Yeah, I think so. Oh God. So Jesus Christ. So the person we're gonna go raid, their stream title is Jess Rappaport Memorial Special, and I can't the knot in my heart. I think stopped for a second, and so I apologize earlier for briefly losing my shit.
No, you're good.
But okay, so we're gonna go raid ASL Barbie,
Cool.
another trans streamer if I can.
Yes, I actually recently followed her, but I've not got
Oh
to catch any for
really?
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't remember who advised her, that recommended her, but I recently followed her and I've not got to catch any stream.
Yeah, she's great. So we'll go hang out with her for a bit, and yeah, I want to thank Dev, the posts guy 666. Follow him on Twitch, Instagram, the same thing.
Yeah, Instagram is the same thing, and so is TikTok as well.
All right, great.
Just throwing that out there. It's a new one, so in case you guys are over on TikTok, I try and go live there sometimes too.
Follow him on TikTok, and Dev, thank you again. I love this. And yeah, we'll have to do this again soon. Great, I'm glad.
Thank you.
Yeah, everybody have a great night, and I will see everybody probably next weekend. Bye. Okay, hang on. Gotta hit the other button. End stream.